Paintball nerd.
All right, today's guest on Paintball Nerds Fun 5, we have an individual who's been playing for nearly 20 years. He joined the Ironman in 2004. He joined Dynasty in 2013. He's got 4 World Cup victories. He does sales and sponsorship for HK and has been doing so for the past 4 years. He's father to twins, and he's a long-distance runner extraordinaire. Ladies and gentlemen, Be Short.
Who, me? Hi, everybody.
Welcome
Hi,
to the
Paintball
show.
Hi, Paintball
Welcome,
Nerds. Hi, Isaac. How you doing?
Yeah, man. I'm good. Thanks for hopping on.
An exciting time. It's a few days before World Cup. It's kind of like Christmas for paintball players.
It is. A lot of new products are coming out. A lot of cool games to watch. So World Cup's always an exciting time. Be Short, I've known you for a long time. In fact, I remember vividly when the first time I ever saw you play, because it's also the first time that you became pro. We were practicing out at your friend Dan's house, which became a little practice spot for a little while. But I remember we were playing out there. I met you for the first time, and you were foot racing people, but you were running backwards. And
oh, wow.
You were beating everyone, and then you were doing this thing, this drill where you would like lean on what, like you were in the snake and you would lean on one knee and pop out and snap shoot on one knee, and everyone was like, where did this kid come from? Like, who is he? And then we had to pick you up, and that's when the Be Short legacy started.
First of all, you have a good memory because that was 20 years ago, which is crazy. 20 years ago. How does that happen? But yeah, I mean, in a flash of an eye, 20 years passes, and 2004 is when I joined Ironman, started pro, playing with you, and that's how the journey began. And here we are.
Here we are, and it's been quite the journey. I mean, you've done everything in paintball. You've established yourself as the most dominant snake player of all time, and that's no small accomplishment. It's a hard position to play, and you've traveled the world doing this thing that we love doing.
It's kind of crazy because paintball has become so ingrained to my life. Even though I don't even play anymore, I work in the industry, and every day I just live and breathe paintball, and it's been that way for 20 plus years. I went pro in 2004, but I was playing before that, so it's like I've been doing this paintball stuff pretty much longer than I've kind of been an adult. So it's my life. It's everything.
So over these past 20 years, what's been the most memorable thing for you? Like, what memory do you hold dearest to your heart in paintball?
Well, I think like the corny thing to say, the real thing to say is like all my friends and all the moments. As far as accomplishments, for sure, winning World Cup the first time. Back then, it felt almost like Mount Everest. Before everyone kind of climbed Mount Everest, it was like this unmanageable, unreachable thing to do. And the first time accomplishing it, it was ecstasy. It was like everything had built up to that one moment, and it finally happened. And then after that, it seemed so much easier to win paintball tournaments, to win a World Cup. But it's just that first time reaching the summit was amazing.
And that was 2007 with the Ironman, yeah?
2007 with the Ironman. And what was cool about that World Cup was they kind of changed the rules. So it was a best 2 out of 3 for every round. And we had to play the Russians. And back then, not to take anything away from them now, the Russians were also like this mystical paintball creature beast from Europe that just was, beating them one time, you're like, oh my God, we got so lucky. But to beat them 2 out of 3 in that setting, it was by far the best thing ever.
Yeah, I remember it well, man. I was watching. That was a year after I quit paintball, and that made me want to go back to paintball. But I remember like running on the field, like, wait, this is not my victory. I feel this victory because these are my boys. This is my team, but this is these guys. But I was like still like juice. I was amped. I was watching you guys slug it out with the Russians, and for you to come away with the victory was just like, dude, even I get goosebumps just talking about it, even as a spectator, you know?
And I mean, it's incredible to win, but I think to win with your friends and your family, because at the time that team was so tight, we were all so close together. Um, the whole Dive family was at that time, right? And so to share that moment with you, with all the guys in the booth, with everybody who put it together, because it's more than just the players to win paintball tournaments. It's everything from the sponsors, the
Yeah.
pit crew, the players, families. It's everything. So I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, you've played with some amazing players. I mean, that squad specifically in 2007 was a pretty stacked team. And I know that Oliver's always been your favorite. At least that's what you told me when you first came on the team, is you want to play with Oliver. And he
Yeah.
wasn't yet on the team. Yeah, he hadn't done that quite yet. So who's your favorite? Be short. Who's your favorite player?
My favorite player. I guess it's kind of like saying, "Where's your favorite place to travel?" It's like, well,
Mm.
what are we kind of in the mood for? Uh, but I guess I would have to say who I think is the best paintball player ever would probably be Ryan Greenspan, just through longevity and just what he's accomplished and the type of player he is. Um, but I got a lot of guys that I've loved to play with. I loved Oliver, loved all the Dynasty guys, loved playing with Scott Kemp. He's one of my best friends. I love playing with Bobby Aviles, who recently passed away, which is really tough, but he was one of my best friends and by
Mm.
far one of my best teammates. Just awesome guy to be around, and it's countless. There's just so many people. So, but I think the best paintball player is Ryan Greenspan for sure. Just
Yeah.
don't let him know I said. Don't let him know I said that.
I'm gonna tell him right away. He's interviewing next, so I'll let him know.
Please. We
But
can't let that
Scamp,
ego.
Scamp said that you were his favorite.
Well, he should say
Yeah, absolutely.
that. No, I love Scott's one of my best friends. He was the best man in my wedding, and I always loved playing paintball with Scott and traveling the world with him. So he's by far one of my favorite human beings, if not most favorite.
Yeah,
Outside
he's
of
a
my
good dude
wife.
for sure.
Outside of my wife.
Of course. Thank you. Make sure you got that in. She's gonna be watching.
I'm walking a fine line over here. I got to be careful.
So be sure, when I think of you on the field, like as a teammate, one of the things that really stands out to me is a yellow framed goggle, and Ryan Williams used to do that too. I'm not sure if that's what inspired that. But for you, what is one item or piece of gear that you have that really is like your special thing that you don't want to step on the field without?
I mean, it has to be your headgear, right? And unfortunately, through the years of hard playing, there's not one single headwear that lasted the entire 20 years.
Yeah.
But I still have them. I still have them in like at home, tucked away safely. So it's always going to be like that special headband, that special beanie, bandana. Um, it's like if you feel good, you look good, you play good, and I've always kind of believed in that. So I used to. Funny story. Because when you travel a lot, you realize the airline, like they're gonna lose your luggage, like 100%.
Yeah.
They're gonna lose your luggage. So I would always
That's no
take my
point.
head, I would always take my headgear and put it in my backpack because I knew like I could always throw together some gear, a mask, pants, whatever. But as long as I had my headgear, we're gonna be cool.
So what's the first headband that made it into the nostalgia bin?
Think it was this brown Sandana skull tan headband that I had forever. The tails just turned into like shredded. I don't know. They just turned into this like shredded looking piece of cloth that you just couldn't wear the headband anymore. I
You
think
can't even
that was
tighten
like
it.
couldn't tighten it. Yeah, the knots were all messed up. I actually had my mother-in-law sew together like some black fabric to kind of put them together for one last run. But that headband, there's a bandana I wore forever that just had holes just blown through it, which would probably explain some of the concussion protocol I had over the years. And I am the way I am now. But yeah, without a doubt, when it comes to paintball, it's all about that headgear. So,
right on, dude. So I talked a little bit about in the beginning how, the first time I saw you, you're doing all this amazing stuff, and you've made it to the point where even today's active pros that are the greatest snake players will talk about you and how you changed it and how you were the greatest snake player. So for, the next Be Short or the next kid or even an adult who wants to get to that level and be the next great player, what advice would you give them?
So I think with anything in life, if you want to be really good at it, you just have to be all in, right? Whatever it takes, you got to be all in. You got to be practicing and just giving it all, your all. And when you do that, your best version of yourself will come out and you'll be the next you. There'll never be the next me because I'm me, but the next great person is out there and he's working hard right now and he wants to be at the top. And so it's just giving it your all, putting all your heart into it. And that's it. It's just hard work every day.
Absolutely. So over the past 20 years of hard work, Be Short, what are you most thankful for that you got in paintball?
Friendships. I love everyone I've ever met. I love you. I love everyone here at HK Army that I work with. Paintball is great, and I loved every second of playing, but it's the friendships that I will always remember and still cherish to this day. So
beautiful, man. Hey, thank you so much for your time here today, Be Short. Is there anything that you want to part with for the paintball community?
Thank you for having me on today. I love all aspects of paintball media. We need a lot of it. I just want to give a big shout out to the paintball world, but also my wife, my twin boys who are almost 6 months old. I love you guys, and good luck to everybody at World Cup. I'm cheering for you, rooting for you, but secretly, go Dynasty.
Thanks, Be Short.